What's up, gals and pals? It's your boy, Vino Valentino, and welcome to 60-Second Cocktails. This is the YouTube PubCrawl, and ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy to have my buddy, Carl from Alchemix Bar. Carl, say hello, everybody, man.
Hello, everyone. 60-Second Cocktails. What's going on, Vino?
Cool. Yeah, cool, man. So happy to have you along, brother. Before we start, cocktails are number one rule. Let me see your cocktail. What do we got? What do we got there, Carl?
So we got a play on a Negroni. I don't know if this has a name or not, but it's Campari, gin, and Saint Germain. So I subbed out the sweet vermouth for Saint Germain.
Nice. All right, so I'm gonna do a little Appleton on ice.
There you go. I was thinking I was actually gonna do that myself, or we have that. Is it plantain pineapple rum?
Plantation.
Yeah, plantation.
That stuff's awesome.
So, but I was like, I'm just gonna go with I know that I can enjoy.
I'll do a little orange bitters on that bad boy.
Yep.
There we go. I got this great book called 3 Ingredient Cocktails.
Oh, dude, I got to get that one.
I swear by that book, man. It's you guys at home, this book, awesome book. He has a lot of good philosophy on cocktail also, which is really good. He takes a lot of classic cocktails and keeps them pretty honest to the original recipe, but he also likes to, add his little touch to it too. But it's fantastic. I think cocktail making should be simple and enjoyable. It shouldn't be so complicated all the time. It's nice to do that, but it's you don't want to overcomplicate it, because I think especially in our world, you could intimidate the viewer sometimes.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, especially if you're new, like more than 3 or 4 ingredients, you're just gonna get scared. Like, oh, I don't know what it's supposed to taste like when I'm done with it. How do I know if I'm doing the right techniques? But if you got 3, it's kind of obvious. Okay, maybe it's not always obvious, but you have a better understanding of what it should taste like, know?
Yep.
I used to do some drink competitions, and some of those were like 8, 9 ingredients. Nice. But I'm like, I'm the only one making it one time. Like, I'm here, what's it? Peacock feathers, I'm trying to showboat, but like, they're like, are you gonna make this at your bar? I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, it's cool to show off these techniques, but how realistic is it that someone's gonna make this cocktail you just put on your video that's like crazy elaborate? Unless it's like a tiki cocktail and it's different. Because those are like usually basic ingredients you can find anywhere. It's just juices and rums and stuff like that. But when it's something super elaborate, and listen, I appreciate the shit out of that, 'cause that's our passion, right? That's what we're cocktail enthusiasts. But I think for the average viewer, man, that stuff could be super intimidating. It really can, unless you just like the sound of it, or like it's like ASMR of cocktails.
Yeah, whatever that. Yeah, we did that Boston cream pie.
Yeah, that was awesome, by the way.
We were both like, no one's ever gonna make this. Like, it's like kind of beyond home bartending. But I'm like, but it's for you and me.
But
like,
Carl, that's different because there's a gimmick behind it, right? Like there's a Boston cream pie.
Right.
I think it's different when it's like something like, let's just say you call it Winter's Eve, right? Yeah. And it's like all this weird shit and infused stuff. Like, there's no gimmick there. True. It's like, I don't care about Winter's Eve, but Boston cream pie, that's fun. I just want to see how he makes it.
Right. Yeah, I get that for sure.
Anyway, Carl, we already broke the ice because we've been speaking for quite some time. But we're gonna do our little fast pour game. Yeah, 60 seconds.
Oh, man, I'm good at 60-second stuff.
Yeah, you're pretty good. You're not as good as me, but you're good. No. All right, brother. So I'm gonna ask you 6 questions. You have 60 seconds to answer them.
Yeah.
Let's begin. You ready?
Yep.
We're gonna begin right now.
Let's go.
Favorite cocktail?
Whiskey sour with an egg white.
Okay. Favorite spirit?
Bourbon.
Favorite hangover food?
Deep fried chicken wings with Parmesan garlic.
Nice. Very specific.
Yeah.
Favorite bar?
There's this bar in Minneapolis I don't know the name of. It's a taco bar. They do individual tacos, but their cocktails are some of the best I've ever had.
Okay. All right.
I'll figure out the name and let you know.
All right, cool. Old fashioned or Manhattan?
Old fashioned.
All right, cool. Last but not least, favorite YouTube channel not named 60-Second Cocktails?
Alchemics.
I should preface it with not saying your own page.
No. Okay, how about this? How about non-favorite cocktail?
Yeah, no. Just your favorite. You got 5, 4, 3,
Dude, I don't know.
2. Oh, all right. We'll stick.
I don't know. I'm my bad.
That's
I'm
all right.
horrible. Like
Fail.
that one's so hard because there's so many I watch.
I know. But just throw one out. You can say whatever. Say.
Okay, Peter McKinnon. There you go.
All right, there you go. All right, Carl. So listen, I know you
do the dance.
Was that?
I don't get to do the dance.
You get no dance, brother. You didn't finish in time. Anyway, brother. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Carl, listen. So, I know some things about you, obviously, on outside of YouTube and stuff. Why don't you tell people like where you're from? What do where'd you start in your whole bartending adventure?
Sure. I've been in Iowa since 6 months old. I'm 40 now. Never lived in anywhere else besides Eastern Iowa. I can name you cities, but you won't know where any of them are. The biggest city is Cedar Rapids. It's close to Iowa City, where the Hawkeyes are at.
Yeah, I think Cedar Rapids is pretty popular.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know because like the Midwest, we have this. It's like so narrow, you don't know. But yeah. So I live in a town called Dubuque. It's on the border of Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin. So anytime I can't find spirits in Iowa because we're a control state, I just pop over the border 5 minutes away, get pretty much whatever I want. Bartending. I started almost 11 years ago. Moved to Cedar Rapids, didn't have a job. There was an ad in Craigslist for catering. And I was like, okay, like I applied. She hired me on the spot. It paid okay money. It was a job. And then a couple months doing that, they're like, hey, at one of our family restaurants, they need a bartender for the night. You've been bartending behind here, catering for a little bit. You want to go do that? I'm like, okay. And then I went there. And it was almost like a supper club, but not really. Okay. It had more of that Vegas lounge feel from like the 70s,
Yeah.
And I was super intimidated. Dude, there was 20 different scotches, 20 different vodkas, all this stuff. And the chef comes out. His name's Chef David. He was like, don't worry. No one ever really orders this. If they do, they already know what they want.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, okay.
They're not going to ask you to recommend the scotch.
Right, exactly. They already know what they want, and stuff like that. And he's like, if they do, just tell me you don't know, And he's like, just be honest with them because they will appreciate that more. I'm like, okay.
100%. That's a fact. Yeah. That's a fact. I always tell my bartenders when, before COVID, I was a food and beverage director. And I would hire my bartenders and tell them, listen, if you don't know something, be honest. Be honest. Yeah. They don't want a bad drink. People will flip out.
Yep. And I mean, over the years, I've learned that obviously there's sometimes you're going to be wrong, right? You say it's good, they don't like it, but they know what's that?
That's different. Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to know that, okay, maybe it just wasn't for them. But you could tell when you go somewhere, they're just listing you off the thing that they need to push for the night or that has the highest margin, and they're not going to trust you. If they could trust you, they're going to come back and keep asking, but, so anyways, bartend there, I started liking it. And he was like, hey, and this place is only open Monday through Saturday, 4 to 10. So the easiest hours in the world, right? Dinner shift, that's it. So he asked me like, hey, you want to work a couple more nights a week? Our other bartender, she's trying to go back to school. I'm like, okay. Then I realized the money was really good because plates are like $40, drinks are like $10 to $12, bottles of wine for $200, and so after 8 months, I started asking him if I could like make my own cocktails because they only had like a preset menu, like old fashioned, dirty martini, Cosmo, the classics, because they never had a drink program there. It was just, they weren't known for that. And I was like, can I do this? And he's like, sure. So that was the first 8 months. And then within a year, I had my own full custom bar menu, some of my own and some that were just different. Yeah. Again, I'm self-taught. This is 2010. So YouTube for cocktails was not really a thing. No. You know who Zane Laff?
Tipsy bartender?
Maybe, but I mean, I just remember I was watching Zane Laffert.
Zane Lamprey? Yeah. I love that guy. He's the three sheets guy, right?
Yep. And he had another one. I forget what it's called. But anyways, I kind of watched his stuff. They weren't really making cocktails. They were just kind of drinking.
Drinking stuff. Yeah.
Right. But so anyways, started having my own bar menu. It was becoming kind of popular. And then in 2013, I won Iowa's Best Mixologist award. Sweet. So it was a competition deal. You make 3 drinks 3 times in front of 3 judges in 15 minutes, whatever. And so did that. And then they wrote a news article about me in the newspaper. And that exploded. Like my bar was busy for the next 2 years. I mean, it was great. I mean, I worked 6 nights a week. I could not tell you how much money I won, or not won. I'm sorry, earned.
Yeah.
And then I just dumped it right back out, you know, that same night. So did that for a while, 6 years total doing that there. I got burnt out, you know. My kids were, my oldest at the time was start middle school. She was playing volleyball. My son was doing flag football in 5th grade. And I just quit. And then I worked at GoDaddy for 3 years. And then eventually I moved back to Dubuque, started bartending again at a brewery, and then just decided to start this YouTube channel and website last year with Riley, my wife.
Yeah, cool. So I mean, so you know, follow up on that. You know, at what point or why did you decide to do the YouTube channel? Like, what is it that kind of sparked it? Was it COVID? Was it just because obviously we've seen like an explosion of channels? Right.
Yeah. I wanted to do it for so many years. So I also, in between all this, my brother and I had started a video production company. We were filming weddings because since I had experience in catering weddings with my first bartending job, I was still catering.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I know how to talk to brides and grooms.
Yeah.
I know the wedding industry kind of. Like, let's go film it and make a bunch of money. Not a bunch, but so we did that. So I have 8 years of video production background and website design. Oh, cool. So anyways, I wanted to do this for a long time, but just never pulled the trigger and could not ever tell you why. Just because I was like, I'll just do it later. You know, like I could just do that in 3 or 4 months. Well, with COVID, I was laid off for the brewery for quite a while. And I'm like, well, if I'm not going to do this now, I'm never going to do it.
Yep.
You know, like I'm just sitting twiddling my thumbs all day, you know, watching YouTube. I'm like, well, I might as well go do something with my life. So I told Riley, I'm like, this is the time to do it. And she agreed. And so we actually started the website last January. The first article, if you go look on the website, was created maybe like a year ago.
What's the website? Tell everybody the website.
Alchemics.bar.
Alchemics.bar. Okay.
Yep. And so we started that. We kind of were going in and out of that. And then I would say in September is when we put the full throttle down of, well, kind of other things in line. My buddy sold me his Panasonic GH5 camera for $800. So I don't know if you're familiar with camera gear at all.
Not too much.
But it's a pretty nice darn camera. And so he sold to me for like half off with a couple lenses. I was like, well, I can't pass
I know
that
they're
up.
expensive, so that's a good deal.
Right, yeah. So that helped out a lot. And again, with having my video production background, I kind of wanted to do it. This is going to sound horrible, and I don't ever mean to sound negative about this, but since I have this background, I didn't want to just do it from my phone. And I appreciate like yourself and everyone else who does it from their phones. I know Rob does it from his like webcam, and that all works, but I'm just one of those, it's just a personal thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, dude, if I had the equipment, I wouldn't be using my phone. You know, it does the job. It looks good, but if you can up the quality and up the production of it, why wouldn't you? Who wouldn't choose to do that if you already have it?
Right. And I have the experience of doing it too. So it's not.
And exactly. And you know how to use the stuff.
Right. And so, I mean, anyways, we did that. And so we said, I think our first video, what's funny is everyone's first video is an old fashioned. And I still have not done an old fashioned video.
Yeah. No, mine wasn't.
Yours wasn't?
Negroni. It was actually a Campari trio of Campari cocktails.
Did you?
Yeah.
Mine was Negroni because it was supposed to be Negroni. It was Negroni week, the moved Negroni week date in September, whatever that was.
Funny, I had no idea Negroni was like a Campari, because Campari I was talking to Rob about this, it had a renaissance in 2020. I mean, every channel was doing multiple Campari cocktails. And I started it with a Campari cocktail only because I love Campari, you know, so I was just like, all right, let me go with one of my favorite, you know, liqueurs or whatever. And it was the problem is that, you know, that first episode was like, very uncomfortable, like, you know, because you're overthinking it and stuff like that. So I definitely want to like go back and kind of do those cocktails over, you know.
Yeah, I mean, even the major players, Educated Barfly, he redoes his videos. Steve the bartender has done, I think, Painkiller 3 times.
Yeah, you have to, because 1, people don't really go back and look, and 2, because you were a different person then. in terms of your confidence in front of the camera and stuff.
Yep, exactly. I mean, if you go look back at Steve the bartender, man, he looked like he was like almost in a little closet. Doing his.
And even Leandro was working in like this small little space, and he had no personality at that time either. He was very kind of,
Right. He was downstairs in the corner of his basement that was like from the 1970s kind of look to it,
And I think Greg was even doing it from a table.
Yeah.
From his table. So listen, I mean, that's the beauty of it, right? Like you look at those guys, they're fantastic now. And that's where you hope to get to that point where you're successful enough to live off of YouTube.
Yep.
And to be able to produce content that you feel really good about. Like, oh man, that looks really good and sounds really good,
I mean, I tell people this, and I don't know, again, sometimes I come off like an asshole to people because if you don't like know me, that's what my wife tells me. But like people on Instagram, like it's easy to DM someone on Instagram. Like, and there's how many ever YouTube channels there are created in 2020 for cocktails? 10x that on Instagram.
100%. And TikTok.
Yeah. So I told Riley, I go, she goes, we need to do TikTok. I'm like, then you handle TikTok. Yeah. Just take my short videos. Yeah. Like you deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. That's you.
I try dabbing to TikTok. I have a TikTok, but it's tough, man. Yeah. Managing multiple social media things on your own and then having to do all this, it's not easy, man. It's not, brother.
It's it's kind of why I put the same content on Facebook and Instagram, right? Like, I don't have time to. But
I take my little 60-second challenge part out of my videos and put it on TikTok. That's what I do because I'm not going to make new content. I can't. It's too tough. If I had a team or a wife who had like real technical savvy, my wife, she barely could turn her iPhone on. You know what I'm saying? So like, I can't ask her to really help me do anything. So it's not really her responsibility either. Anyway, Carl. So tell me about that like aha moment for you, that cocktail that made you go, aha, I love cocktails, man. Like, woo.
So this is actually a future episode of mine. Is what I'm about to tell you.
All right, so go for it.
I didn't really start drinking until in my mid 20s, late 20s maybe. I wasn't into drinking. I just never didn't do it in high school, and then did it a little bit in your 20s and stopped when I had my first 2 kids and kind of got back into it. Long Island iced teas is the thing that started. I started experimenting, and by experimenting was I buy the store-bought Long Island in the store, and all you do is put sour mix and a pop with it, your Pepsi or Cola. So I would go do that, but then I would go buy all the pops, whatever was on sale, all the flavors, all of them, and see what worked and what didn't. Some of them were great, and some of them were horrible. And so
by pop, you mean soda, right? Like
soda,
Coke, right?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because not all of us say pop.
Right. Yeah, that's a Midwest thing, I think. But yeah, soda pop, so you have your cherry colas, your root beers, whatever special 7-Up was out for the season. Yeah. I put that in my Long Island.
Do you have a clear Pepsi, was it? Remember that Pepsi Clear? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You're my age, so you probably remember that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Right. Pepsi, but I remember it was horrible. It was god awful.
It was.
But I should now come back and be the most amazing thing in the world. But yeah, it was that. And then I was still with the mother of my kids during that time. Then when I went back to Cedar Rapids, then I started drinking like your more dive bar cocktails, I would say. But then like, these all suck. Like, how can I make this better? Yeah. Or how can this be better? Then you go to a restaurant and you try it. So Long Island iced tea, though, is the cocktail.
That, I got to tell you, it's funny because that is – so the Long Island iced tea is one of those cocktails that gives me nightmares, right? I have a horrible like relationship with Long Island iced tea. So 100%. It's funny that that's the one that did it for you. For me, it was the old-fashioned. Like I was drinking – so the Long Island iced tea was my first cocktail.
Right.
It didn't impress me. I was drinking them too much, and they were making me sick, and I was like out clubbing, having like 6 at a night. God. At that time, I didn't know how to deal with my alcohol really yet, so it's my fault that I don't like it, I think.
Right.
Anyway, but so, and I was having gin and tonics and cranberry vodka, like a lot of those
and drinks.
Yeah, and stuff like that, just to kind of get, buzz or twist or whatever the case might be. But the first time I had an old fashioned, like a really good old fashioned, I was like, holy shit, like this is so dope. You know what I mean? Like at that point, I could actually taste the ingredients, like in my palate. It was really kind of picking up on the different nuances. And at that point, I was like, I don't think I could ever have like a gin and tonic or anything again. Like, not that I don't like them, they're great, but I knew at that point I wanted to kind of go into a little more sophisticated cocktail drinking. And
now,
so
when you were
Manhattans and Negronis and the Rusty Nail and stuff like that, I just fell in love with that stuff, man.
When you were doing your old fashioned, when that got brought to you, which version was it?
Honestly, the first version I had was, I guess, kind of that Wisconsin style. You know, it was like a muddled orange and maraschino cherry and like a bunch of big ice cubes, like you know, the stuff from the vending machine. So while it wasn't the way I would drink it now, I tasted all these different flavor notes. I was like, oh well, this is good, man. I want to like really figure out well, actually what happened is I went and tried to read up on the old fashioned because I was impressed. And that was like a barely there old fashioned. Then the next time I had one, I had it done the right way, or my way. And then I was like, sold. Yeah. Because there was a place I went to that made it. The guy took like 10 minutes. Like, it was so slow, but I could see the effort he was putting into it. And when I got it, that was transforming. I was like, oh,
dude,
wow.
You know what has bugged me about the whole time thing with like mixology and bartending stuff? Like, you know, some of these drinks, it takes 3 minutes to build, like depending on what it is, right? You know, like, I can't even name you one that takes a while, but just the effort, it takes a lot of effort to make a good tasting cocktail. And people are like, oh, this is taking forever. I'm like, hold up. You're about to pay me $10 or $12 for this cocktail. You're bitching to me about how long it's taking, but you will go to Starbucks and sit in that goddamn line for how long for $6 commercial coffee?
That they're pumping out of a freaking machine. And you know, with old fashioned, listen, old fashioned, if you can't take long, right? Because you're gonna muddle your sugar if you're gonna use sugar cube, right? And then you have like your soda, if you use soda, which I like to use, you know, so you're doing that, and your Angostura, you know, so if you take your time and you stir it long enough, it could take 3 minutes. But you're gonna get in a fantastic cocktail, you know. They're probably just used to that. You know. It's just funny when I see people complain about how long it's taking. It's like, you're spending more money on it weirds me out when people put their priorities of time and what they're consuming and the value of what they're consuming. I think one of the things, you know, coming from our side of things, catering, like it's a whole different animal, bro. Like, I don't listen, all due respect to like bartenders in the restaurants and bars, catering is a whole different animal when it comes to cocktail making, because the process is like this, right? Oh yeah. They want to get on to, you know, doing what they're doing at the table with their friends at a wedding, or dancing and stuff, talking, so they're like, they don't have time to wait for you, as opposed to a bar where people are kind of there for the night to chill. Maybe they're sitting at the bar, you know, it's a different vibe. At a catering, man, that's where I got the idea for 60-second cocktails, because my thing with my waiters was, it shouldn't take you more than a minute to make a cocktail. I say, get it done in a minute, because we can't make these people wait. So I just wanted to kind of carry that over. I thought it'd be fun to challenge myself, because I'm always the one telling people to do it. To challenge myself to make them 60 seconds. And it's been a fun ride. But yeah, so catering's, there's a lot. It's a fast-paced world, man. Dude, events and catering is a fast-paced world, bro. I think if you want to become a bartender, and if you're not, if you don't go to like a bar that has a program, like I've heard Employees Only has like a huge program for you to learn how to, right? Like, if you want to cut your teeth and learn how to bartend, you go bartend at a catering company for a year or two. It will change how you just think of not maybe just building a drink, but just how you're wasting time doing shit you don't need to be doing. You become so much more efficient, man. Efficient. That's the word I was looking for. So much more efficient. Dude. And again, all respect due to bartenders throughout the industry. I you know, as a cocktail enthusiast and someone who's in the industry, I love what they do, but it's a different beast. It really is, you know. I think you could probably see like a nightclub bartenders similar. Right. The difference is that the bartender at a nightclub doesn't have to answer to anyone if they're taking their time. You know what I mean? Right. a bartender at a catering got to answer to his bar captain. He's got to answer to the guy who owns the venue. He's got to answer to the client. There's a lot of people that can bitch and moan, and all of a sudden you're not getting called for that next gig.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like you gotta. Catering is fickle, brother. You know, you screw up one time, you're not getting called back by the catering company.
It's definitely, if you fuck up, it's going to be remembered. Like, like even if like the venue can't say you can come in or not, but like if they know you messed up that one time, they're going to like, oh, it's this guy again. And then they're not going to be so friendly helping you out. But man, if you become friends with all the vendors and you like know how to oil, like, you know, lube, like the people you work with all the time, even though they're not directly your employees or coworkers, but kind of are, it makes things so much smoother, so much better. So
Carl, tell me a drunk story, brother. Not necessarily the first time you got drunk, but like just one of your best drunk stories.
Oh, there's so many.
I know. Trust me. I mean, I don't get drunk very often, but all the times I have, they've been hysterical. But you got to give me a good one. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll tell you about the first time I hung out with Riley's sister.
Okay.
So anyone who probably doesn't know, Riley is my wife. We've been together for 7 years now. So it was 2014. It was the year after I won my cocktail championship, whatever. Anyways, they were doing it again. And how it worked was, they had 5 regionals and then state. You had to win first or second at the regional to make it to state.
Okay.
So I was like, well, I'll do this again. Like, well, you're the first person. Because usually that you judge if you win. I'm like, I don't want to judge. I want to do this again. Like the competition is what's fun to me.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I do the regional, and Riley's sister comes because Riley is in Vegas. Riley is in Vegas with Mono and 2 of her friends from Wales that had came over and visited, and they wanted to tour around the United States. So Riley had already planned this.
Yeah.
So Riley was in Vegas with Mono while her 2 friends were driving to San Francisco. So she was even around. Her sister had just moved to Cedar Rapids. It's her second day in Cedar Rapids, and she comes out and hangs out with me. It's the 3rd time her and I ever hung out. So I'm getting drunk, and I know I didn't do good, and I know I am not going to make it to state. So I'm just throwing them back. You know, I got some of my close friends with us, and we're just throwing them back. And then we go to this nightclub. Again, we're talking Iowa, so it's not really a nightclub, right? So anyways, we're hanging out, and I told her, like, hey, I got to go soon. My brother's watching my kids, and he's going to be pissed if I'm out all night. And she goes, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. Well, I like to ghost people when I'm drunk. When I want to leave, I just leave and don't tell anyone.
What do they call that? Like an Irish goodbye, something like that?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That makes sense, though. So I did not tell her that I left. I left. And I went home. And next thing I know, I wake up in the morning. There's a million texts and calls from Riley. I left her sister at the bar. Didn't tell her I was going to go. She had no money for a cab or Uber.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. So she's drunk. She's not going to drive in a town that she's not familiar with. And so she doesn't know how she's going to get home. You know, she's like 4 miles from home. So it's not she's just going to walk. And so she had to ask, she was probably 22 at the time. She had to probably ask someone in their mid-30s for a ride home, a stranger, a complete stranger. Like, and she had to basically say, my sister's new boyfriend left me here, blah, 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 and stuff like that. So I thought that relationship, like, well, there it goes. Carl burns another relationship up for being drunk, So,
hey, she still married you, brother.
She still married me. And we laugh about that.
That speaks a lot for your town, though, man. Like in New York City, that's not going to have a good ending if someone ends up in a cab drunk or something with some random stranger, bro. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty, for the most part, people are friendly to a point, but I think she probably picked the one person, we're talking, it's like probably 1 o'clock in the morning, right? So
good.
But
so Carl, listen, obviously, you've been in the industry for a bit, 10 years, right? You said 10, 11 years, right?
Yep.
And so obviously, we all know our stuff, right?
Yeah.
Even the home bartenders who are just getting into it, they've got a certain skill set or knowledge base and stuff like that.
Yep.
But if you had to be honest with yourself, like what's a blind spot for you or maybe a weakness for you as a bartender? Like something you feel like you could be better at or stronger at, maybe a certain kind of cocktails or certain liqueurs that you don't know too well. Like what would you say is your thing?
I would say there's two big things in my repertoire, right? I'm trying to use fancy words because Riley thinks it's really sexy when I use Scotch for sure.
Scotch, okay.
That's definitely one. I just don't like pee. I don't like the peatiness, but I think making cocktails more with it, I'll get used to it. But be my thing, no. But I just the knowledge of like the experience of like when people ask about Scotch cocktail.
It's a large amount of information with Scotch. It's huge, man.
Dude, that's
big.
I think that's bigger than the bourbon world. Like I think there's more complexities in it and like more.
That definitely. Well, because the bourbon is really all kind of made in the same area, and and it's not that. The quality is based really on the process, right? Right. But with Scotch, different parts of Ireland, the different taste. I mean, it's a whole different animal.
It's like wine almost, right? It's just this huge thing that like, but
it's very much like wine. Very much. Like wine.
I would also my other weakness is going into the cocktails when you can take 3 to 4 spirits and make a really good tasting cocktail. My whole shtick, my whole like thing that got me really into mixology or doing good is making all my homemade syrups and like fruits and like the cooking side of mixology, you know what I'm saying? Like I crutched on that forever and I still crutch on it a lot because I can do really good. But like sitting there and trying to make like a cocktail that's only spirit or for the most part 80% spirit, I'm not that great at, you know.
Dude, it's so funny because I'm literally the other side of it. Yeah. Because of being in catering and having to make specialty cocktails that had to be made quickly. Making 2-3 ingredient cocktails that are very spirit forward, nail it, right? A lot of my cocktails on my show, actually, things that I made, like my Christmas martini and the one I'm making, whatever. It's that stuff comes natural to me. It's making all the syrups and all that fancy stuff that you like to do. That's just not something that I ever really had to do, and I can't necessarily say that it's a strength of mine by any stretch of imagination. It's definitely a blind spot for me. Yeah, it intrigues me though. When I see you make some stuff, I'm like, shit, that looks awesome, man. Yeah,
it's 100% because the chef of the restaurant I worked at, he was amazing. I mean, he was a dick, but I mean, he has to be, right? Like he's a chef. Chefs are assholes. He has to be, but
brilliant.
But he was great at making like weekend specials, like a swordfish weekend special, or this or that. Yeah. And so I started asking him like, how do you get so good at flavor profiling or flavor matching? And he told me, he busts out this book, laid it in front of me. He's like, you just look up an ingredient in this thing, and this thing will tell you what the major flavor styles are and then what the backsides one are. He goes, I go for the stuff that is more the lesser known flavor profiles. And so I started reading this book, and then luckily again, he taught me techniques. I would come in 3 hours early before my shift. He's there, and I asked him, how do I do this? And he would show me. So he would show me and tell me how to do stuff and cook stuff down, make this into that.
That's awesome. That's cool.
And so, he is, I have no idea where he's at anymore. He moved, we think, to Atlanta, Georgia, but
he might be coked up in the alley somewhere, bro. Because chefs, man, that's like, that's their medicine, man. That stuff.
This guy was actually, he hardly drank. He would hardly drink. Because, I'm not speaking for him, but because we never really talked about it. But he said a couple times, he's probably gotten in a lot of trouble, and I don't mean like legal trouble, but, just like mistakes, personal, whatever. Yeah. And so, but there'd be a couple times, man, three glasses of wine at the end of the night. And that was barely a thing. You could tell like, all right, he's drunk and, but we have some fun, but, he was great. He was the guy that kind of taught me how to like pair things together and make things work. Oh, so cool. I 100%, owe that to him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Grateful for him. His name's Chef David Myers. So if anyone knows where he's at, he's probably late 40s now. Yeah, he's only a couple years older than me, mid 40s, late 40s. So if anyone knows where he's at, you know who I'm talking about.
That's right. Let's go viral here so we can get his attention. One of mine is Amaro's. Dude, that is like a world onto itself that I just can't get my head wrapped around, man. It is just crazy.
Dude, especially like seeing all these European cocktail people. How about this? Anyone that's not in the United States, they use so many more ingredients that we use, especially here in the Midwest. Absolutely. I have no idea what they're using. Yeah. Like, is it Jean-Philippe from Truffles on the Rocks? He uses all these liquors. I try to go look for him. Like, I can't get half the stuff he's using. And there's probably no alternatives. Like, it's either that.
No, that's the problem with the Amaros. A lot. It's like, I want to buy some Amaros, but I'm like, what do I buy? With Scotch, even though Scotch is complex, you could say, do you want a smoky, peaty one, or do you want one that's not? Pretty much, and you can get away with otherwise. But Amaros just feel like, if you don't have this, you're not going to be able to use something else, and that's just like. So I need to get a couple bottles just to have them, because some cocktails I want to make, but I'm not going to delve deep into that, because that's like a animal into itself, man. So listen, Carl.
Yes, sir.
Back to Alchemics.
Alchemics.
What is the future for Alchemics? What is your hope?
What is my hope? I hope
besides monetization.
Yeah. I mean, that's all easy peasy.
That's a given, yeah.
So,
I'm talking about the brand. What's the brand of Alchemics? What's the future for the brand?
I hope at some point, the website takes off and it becomes a destination for people to learn about cocktails.
Tell people what it is. What is it that the website offers now, and what do you hope to add to it?
I mean, the website right now is just your basic find cocktails on there and learn about them. Okay. But we also we're taking the tasting room and putting that onto the website. Okay. And where we do comparison on liquors, and does it matter? Basically, for anyone that doesn't know, the tasting room is where me and my wife take 3 spirits, low, medium, high of a vodka or a bourbon. I make one cocktail using all 3, and I blind taste test her and see if she can tell the difference. So basically, does the price of your liquor matter?
Got it.
At the end of the day, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. At the end of the day, that's what we found out so far.
Yeah.
So anyways, we want to take that tasting room component, build that more into the website where people come for reviews, and find stuff out. The recipes are just kind of like a side thing. But in 3 years, when my kids are out of high school, no longer living with us, I hope to take Alchemics / the tasting room and do a traveling show, kind of like 3 Sheets in the Wind, where we go to other bars, restaurants, and talk to people more about spirits and the understanding of it. Cool. I think Zane had a great idea. He was just 10 years too early.
Yeah, he was a total pioneer in his business, man, and he's still around. I follow him on Instagram, and he's still doing stuff. But unfortunately, I think his ship has sailed. But I think there's opportunity for new people to come along and kind of take the realm. I want to do something similar, but not so much. I think you're looking at it from much more, educational perspective. Yeah. I want to take the 60-second cocktail thing on the road and challenge other bartenders. So go to other bars and do kind of like a man versus food thing. Yeah. So while you're the Anthony Bourdain, I'd be the guy from, I forget his name.
I know who you're talking about though. The guy who's 3-pound burrito contest. Can we get this done?
Exactly. So I want to go and I want to compete against other Bobby Flay style, other bartenders, and try to finish a cocktail in under 60 seconds. I just think it'd be fun. Plus, there would be like the goofy backstory stuff. I do all the comical stuff to kind of make it entertaining. But I could see that idea of your idea in mind, that kind of travel to other places and talk about cocktails, being something that's definitely feasible, and I think people would enjoy it. I really do.
Yeah, and I definitely think 2020 has definitely made that into a possibility now. Even 5 years ago, it's kind of work, kind of not, you know, but with everyone staying at home drinking more and watching more, they're understanding now finally what cocktails can do and what they can be and how they all work and the enjoyment of them, and stuff like that. So that's our hope. Luckily I have a wife who's completely on board with this.
Yeah, cool. And my wife too, man.
Yeah, it helps out so much when you're not fighting. All we fight about is where the hell are we gonna put our liquor at? Cause you can kind of see.
Yeah, you're pretty racked up, man.
Oh, that's half of what we have.
Wow.
There's a bottom shelf down here and a shelf over there that is just filled, and that's our argument.
I've got 3 rows of stand-up bottles. I have a whole rack in the bottom here, and I've got stuff in here also. It's getting bad. It's getting bad.
It's getting bad. Did you take a look at your price? How much you spent last year?
Oh, on my entire from the startup of this show, it's too much. Yeah, I'm having fun with it, dude. I fucking love this shit, man.
Dude. If I didn't love this,
I'm not on the camera. I am laser focused on making this work.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly how I am. You know, I mean, I probably bug Riley too much. I mean, you know, I mean, I talk to you about it. We'll DM each other once in a while. Same with Gabriel, Dave and I, you know, and stuff like that. But it's just like, I always feel like I'm bothering everyone about the ideas that are going through my head. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, man.
And I'm like, oh, my wife just probably hates me. You
Listen,
know,
you know, first of all, you can always reach out to me.
Yeah.
I'm big on this whole community thing. Like, you know,
Yeah.
Rob and I talk about it a lot. Like, we have to have each other's back. That's the way we'll be successful. You know, the fact is, your first subscribers are normally people in your niche, right? So you have, well, first they're your friends that are willing to subscribe. Then it's the people in your niche. And as that grows, the channel grows.
Yeah.
So it's important to have each other's back and to help each other grow that way. You know what I'm saying? And if that's like subscribing and liking and sharing, and, you know, I'm always sharing people's content on Instagram because
I need to do better at that. That's kind of like my downfall, like Instagram. Like I just kind of like post some things that kind of dip out, but it's like, oh my God, it's so much.
There's a lot, man. But, you know, something, and you're scanning through a lot of stuff. So I try to give shout outs where I can. And but you also focusing on your own stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
there was a YouTube video I watched today where this woman was talking about how to grow and stuff like that. She was like, do you think Peter McKinnon, Maddie Hawaja, I always forget his last name. There's other guys, like they're always talking about each other. And so they're always bringing each other into the world. Like, like you need to find people. You're never going to grow that successful by yourself unless you're just some crazy one-off.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's definitely people that could do it on their own. Right. But, you know, for guys like us who are, you know, who have not had that viral moment or something like that, or had like a big explosion, we're going to build each other's homes, you know, like give each other bricks to build this house until, you know, we finish it off, you know. I'm big on that. And I know, you know, Rob is and David is and you are, and we always communicate and we always kind of collaborate. And that's what this show is really, you know. It's a way for me to help spread awareness of my fellow YouTubers and guys that I admire. You know, I love the quality of your work. And so I'm like, you know, and so, you know, I'm not going to put someone on here if I didn't really dig their stuff, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, because I think it would come off just like I was saying earlier, when you recommend something, people know that you're not behind it. They're going to know. People aren't stupid anymore.
No, they're not.
Like you could tell when someone's just kind of half-assing it just for the name, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. Like, so for me, it's about sharing that awareness of the people I think make great content, and also with this show to show a side of them that I think people don't know. They might be like, "Oh, Carl's cool, man," or "Rob's cool," or "David's cool," or, you know, Vino's cool, you know. So and that goes a long way to getting people to commit to your channel and your content, you know. Yeah,
there is from the website design, showing people who you are, like having your image on the website, talking about you and the things that maybe not just about how you are as a person. Like there's this guy on Instagram, the Rusty Bartender. Do you follow him?
I know who he is. Yeah.
So he just launched his website and I went to it and him and I were talking and I was just like, you need to go to your about page, add an image of you and talk about you and your person. Cause he was talking about it as someone else was writing about it. I go, people need to know who you are so they feel connected and they have this like emotional connection to you.
100%.
Like,
100%.
You know, and stuff. And that's what people want. You know, if you're honest about who you are and how you act in front of the camera, you know, like I'm pretty sure everyone in our list, I mean, David's at 3,000 subscribers, but everyone else, we're all at basically 1,000 or less.
We're all trying to monetize right now. We're all trying to get to that point.
We're all trying to get there. But what I'm saying is I'm pretty sure we're all exactly who we are on camera and off camera, you know, like I don't think, and I've seen a lot of videos, I think we're all exactly who we are. We're not trying to be Greg on how to drink. We're not trying to be Steve the bartender. We're not trying to be, how do you say Educated Barfly guy's name?
Leandro.
Yeah, we're not trying to be him.
Yeah.
You know, and those guys seem exactly who like they are, you know, and people can smell bullshit anymore. It's pretty easy. But
especially on YouTube, man, where it's so easy to just be like, next guy.
Yeah.
Like, next guy, this guy's too much like this, or this guy sounds like he's full of shit, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's important to be yourself, and hopefully it's good enough for people.
Yeah.
I don't expect everyone to dig my content, my style of content. I'm not technical. I'm not into the whole, I'm having fun. Like, hey, let's make a cocktail quickly and do a little couple jokes in there. Yeah. And if you like that, great. If you don't, I respect that.
That's what I liked about yours. I can't even, it's been so long, even though it's only like 6 months ago or 4 months ago, but like, obviously I probably looked up something and like you said, all these new cocktail channels. And I just remember seeing yours and saying like, all right, I like this shtick, like it's not a shtick, but like, it's like, I like what you're doing, right? Like
it's a gimmick.
It's a gimmick. Yeah. And your name is fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I thought,
thanks. I love when people finally figure it out. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Like it took me like a couple episodes before I'm like, oh, this motherfucker, he got it. Like he got it. Like it makes sense, but
Ray from All About the Cocktail, who I love. He's so
the older guy, right?
Yeah, it kills me. He's been calling me 62nd Street Cocktails forever, man. It's hysterical, man, but he's great. But Carl, man, listen, brother, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, man.
Hey, dude, thank you for having me. I appreciate what you do for the community. It's awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you, brother.
You and Dave and Rob.
These challenges are fun, and we have a lot more stuff that's coming up that's gonna be really cool. That we'll be announcing soon. That we definitely want you on board for some of them. I think it's gonna.
I'm down for anything, man.
So listen, Carl, tell people where they could find you on the internet, and social media, and stuff.
It's all Alchemix Bar. It's either Alchemix _bar or Alchemix Bar. Alchemix is ALCHEMIXBAR. So we just look for it. Our symbol is just an A with a black background.
Yeah, and just because he didn't say that. Make sure it's bar, Alchemix Bar. Because there's an Alchemix out there.
There is. So, quick second, if you don't care.
Sure, go for it.
So we were debating on Alchemix. And I did the whole research thing, right? Yeah. And I found that guy's channel. I'm like, man, this guy hasn't put out anything for a year.
Yeah.
Screw it. I'm going to take it. Yeah. I'm not going to take it. Like, I just used it.
You're going to run with it. Yeah.
I got to run with it.
Run the jewels.
Yeah, right. Run the jewels, right? And so I did that. And after like 2 months, all of a sudden he started putting out content again. I'm like, ugh. But I'm too deep now. I got the website. I got this. Like, look, it is what it is.
Let's just say he's a whole different vibe from you guys.
100%.
Let's just say that. Carl,
he's
brother,
a New York bartender, right?
Was that?
He's a New York bartender, right?
I think he is. Yeah, I think he is. Yeah. I don't know.
Those New York fucks.
Yeah, seriously, brother.
No, I'm just joking, bro.
Not all of us. All of us.
No.
Carl, cheers, my brother.
Cheers.
Send Riley my best. To Oliver, my best.
Oliver, yeah. I know. Where the hell is he?
Yeah, he didn't make a cameo.
This is his nap time.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for joining us. All right, guys. Yeah. Remember, when life gives you lemons, Carl, tell them, what do you do when your life gives you lemons?
Make a cocktail?
Yeah, there you go.